I want you to imagine that everyone in the city that you live in right now left overnight. They leave their houses, their furniture, they leave most of their possessions, all of the businesses close, even hotels are left bare. Now imagine that 50 years passes from that day and the city is left largely untouched. That's what happens in a city in Cyprus called Famagusta. In my first video, we went through a history of Cyprus and we explored some of the places that my family are from. In this video, we're going to be walking through history. We're going to be going and seeing what an uninhabited 50-year-old city looks like in chapter 2. And then we're going to be sneaking through barbed wire fences into an untouched village in the UN buffer zone of Cyprus, the Green Line, in chapter 3. If you haven't seen my first video, you can watch it after this video. There'll be a clickable link at the end of the video and it'll also be in the description down below. But before all of that, let's talk about zombie movies. I know, kind of weird, right? But zombie movies really do the whole everyone left the city in an instant trope quite well. They have abandoned high-rise hotels, empty beaches, most of the buildings have been scavenged, and the whole place, especially in cities, just has this overgrowth of nature in it. I mean, they probably fast forward the overgrowth of nature in the movies, but they really do actually do it all really quite well. I wouldn't be surprised if Famagusta is the inspiration for a lot of these movies because Famagusta looks like exactly what you would expect a zombie movie to look like. And if it wasn't used for Turkish army bases in some areas, Hollywood 100% would have been there a couple times already now. And it's just crazy how big Famagusta is and how much is just locked away from the public now. And it's no wonder why this city was the pride of Cyprus. It's what Ayia Napa is to Cyprus now. This place was a fully functioning, popular tourist destination, but in August 1974, everyone in the city was ordered to leave by the next day. Everyone. I've gone for 2 years in a row now and it still blows my mind. I wish I could go into the places that don't let you, but we'll save that excitement for the Green Line. Let me show you what it's like to go into Famagusta. Right, we are heading to Famagusta today. If you look forward, you can actually see the town from here, and we're going to be going through the checkpoint. So the interesting thing about this town is that it actually runs alongside the Green Line. The Green Line we'll also drive through as well. It's a pretty long drive through the Green Line, so there's a lot to see. And then once we get into town, we drive along it, and then we get to Famagusta. So Famagusta is a bit of a big town. There is a part of it that is inhabited by people, but there is the part of the town called Varosha, which is what we're going to be going through and seeing, which is the abandoned part. So we're just going through the checkpoint now, and then we'll get to the other side. There's a parking lot where you can actually park, and there's a lot to actually see there as well. So we'll get there and go from there. This is the parking lot of the Turkish border. Straight away, it's barbed wire, old school there, and houses. The parts that aren't part of the Green Line, especially around this area, just look almost like they're the same, but they are inhabited by the Turkish Cypriots. Trichomedes and Sons, and a sign to say you can't go in. So that's down the road that we have to go down. It goes all along the Green Line. Photography is forbidden. Whoops. Anyway. Dad didn't realize, but he's wearing his grease hat. Very inconspicuous. Last year when I was here, I ran into a couple of Turkish locals at this soccer field here. You want to go on the video too? Say hello.
Video? YouTube?
Video. Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube.
Yeah. Say hello. My name's Chris.
Chris.
Yeah.
My name
Becky.
is Bekir.
Becky.
Evet.
Yeah. And
My
you?
name is Enes.
Anas.
Mustafa.
Mustafa. Oh yeah.
Ayaz. My name
Ayaz.
is Ayaz. Oh, Baran. Yes, photo. Baran. Photo.
Baran.
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 Tamam, bakayım. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
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 See you. Cute kids. But yeah, so we're still driving alongside the Green Line here. With all the abandoned houses right just over the fence. Just a strange sort of place to drive alongside. Church. They've put the The oil cans in front of the way. There's another church there. And a cinema here. So again, we've got the side that's inhabited, and then just here, and then all around. Alongside it is the uninhabited part. Old businesses, Coke signs, an old cinema. So we're just here. We're gonna go around and then up to Varosha. Let's head there now. Now we're heading into Famagusta now. If you look here at the number plates, the ones on the northern side, they try and make it look like it's an EU symbol. The EU and the rest of the world don't actually recognize the Northern Republic of Cyprus. It's only Turkey that recognizes that. So if you compare it to a Cypriot number plate, there's a subtle difference here. Yeah, so it's a subtle difference, right? So the good thing is, in the entrance, they do have Greek writing. Let's go in, huh? Yeah. So I just came into the entrance. The guy stopped me, he checked my bag, he wanted to see if there's a drone inside. I didn't bring it because I knew they wouldn't want that. And then they saw the camera, me holding the camera, and they're like, "Are you a YouTuber?" I'm like, yeah, gave him my YouTube. Spoke to one of the policemen, he spoke Greek. It seems like he spoke pretty fluent Greek. And he's asking me why I don't speak Greek, but we won't get into that. This is the entrance. So whilst you can walk through it, they've got the barriers here, and there's pretty much sections where you can't go through. But straight away, you can just see, it looks like a town that's fully fledged, but it's just empty and barren. So in regard to opening this place up, it was pretty controversial. The EU and the UN didn't want them to do that. It was against their orders, pretty much. I don't know how necessarily I feel about that, because it's a bit of a reminder to the Greeks, what they've lost. But at the same time, I think it's just interesting to see it and know that there's a reminder that at one point, this was a hustling, bustling city. And it's pretty amazing that even just the glass hasn't been destroyed on a lot of this place. There's a couple ways to go. Down here is where sort of the city center is, where there's a lot of businesses and stuff. Down here is to go on the way to the beach, which you can go into, interestingly enough. And down here is sort of the same thing. I'm gonna start this way because it really is the place that shows how this place was, and how busy this place would have been, and just how established it was, and how in an instant it just went away, Throughout Famagusta, there are UN patrols and there's Turkish patrols. So the Turkish military also has a base here and little posts everywhere, like the one I just passed down there. So the UN and the Turkish military have repurposed some of these buildings to be lookouts that they can see people from, so they're not, going into the buildings or walking off. There's a cafe, hotel. And this is the, if you have a Hoover vacuum, this is a Hoover store just here. Next to it is a cafe that they've opened. Yeah, strange, but sure. Now they have a couple of these signs around here, just showing how some of these buildings were owned by Turkish Cypriots. And they've got one in front of the Toyota building, which I'll show you. In regard to the places that you can't go down, the ones that are cornered off, nature's taken over and grown in all the spots. But as you'll see, there's a lot of Greek names on the buildings. But it's just lining of shops, lining up of businesses that people lost, People unfortunately can't go back to. And again, the streets you can't go down, just taken over by nature, which is actually really quite beautiful in a way. But also a reminder of the shame that 51 years that they just can't resolve this conflict, This building is actually Olympic Airways. It used to be the biggest airline, obviously in Greece and in Cyprus as well. And then all the travel agents here lined up. Philips, there you go. Like I said, this place was like a pretty big tourist attraction for a lot of people, which is why there's all these big name brands. You've got Toyota just up ahead. You've got the Hoover, the Philips, and Bank of Cyprus. Did you ever come here when you were young?
No.
Probably didn't travel much when you were young, huh?
No, I was the other side of Cyprus.
You didn't have a car, right?
No.
The family was pretty poor, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you have a donkey to ride?
Yeah, we had an old donkey.
Yeah. Did you ride at places?
Yeah, I used to look after her
Oh, nice.
and feed her.
Did she ever kick you?
No.
Town Bazaar. This looks like a pretty cool place. nature. So a little bit further up, there's this famous sort of spot where people take photos in front of the Toyota building. The Toyota building is sort of iconic to this place, where it's just this building that sort of represents what it was like at the time. You know, this prosperous city that had celebrities coming and beautiful beaches and beautiful luxury hotels. That building is a place that people like to take photos in front of. There's also a sign in front of it, which I'll show you, which is saying that a Turkish man owned the property before 1913. Now, I don't doubt that isn't true. I'm sure that it is true, but it's sort of a justification that they're saying that it was illegally taken from them. And sure, I believe that as well, because 1913 was World War I, and that's when Britain actually annexed the country from the Ottomans. So prior to that, in the late 1800s, Britain actually leased the country. Don't know how that works, but they leased the country from the Ottomans to protect them from the Russians. You know, it was pretty much under British rule at that point. After the victory of World War I, they took over the country and they changed rights of a lot of people's ownership of the place. In regard to the justification of annexation of 37% of the country, you know, the end doesn't justify the means, and you know, an eye for an eye is something that I don't agree with, you know. I don't think any of this is good. I don't think anyone should lose their property or their businesses, and I would love people to peacefully coexist. It's almost like going to the Gaza Strip and taking photos with all the destroyed buildings. It was a war zone, and it's just strange to me that people obsess about taking photos in front of the Toyota building. I'd hate to think that some of it might be pride towards being able to have taken this, but I just also think that people like taking photos in front of, you know, stuff like that. But continuation of, in terms of the popularity of the town, you know, you got Barclay Bank, Toyota building, Singer. They make really nice sewing machines. Sharp building down there. Sharp, not very popular anymore, but popular at the time, you know. Japanese TVs and stuff. So now we're getting to the point where we're going to walk along where all the hotels are. Very nice area. Well, it once was a nice area, I should say. Really quite beautiful. And of course, if you want, you can go for a dip in the water, go to the beach if you like. Because why not, hey? Why not? I really want to go in there. So as you can see, the beach is popping off. Good amount of people there. And then if we turn around, there's the shoreline of all the abandoned hotels, all of them, all the way to the end. So I tried to rent a bike. The guy's like, oh, we're out of bikes, even though there's clearly bikes there. And I'm like, okay, cool. So what else can I have? And he's like, oh, we're out of everything. There is a whole bunch. I'll show you. There's scooters, bikes everywhere. Hey, even one of these. But I could tell by the way he was talking to me, he was being an absolute I don't mind walking. It's just that the section that we're going to go to is pretty long. So I want to be able to get back to my family, and then we can go and look at somewhere else. But it just shows that there are people who have some sort of trauma or some sort of inherent anger towards people. I mean, I obviously have an Australian accent, so I could be Turkish. I look Turkish, so his assumption of me is a bit weird. But in terms of my interactions with people, for the most part, it's actually been pretty good. It's really just like, it's usually the police or people in like the official powers who are usually pretty rude and don't say hello or engage in conversations, or who are just like, just have that attitude towards you. The guys at the gate were pretty nice, very nice to me. I know that he probably just got my YouTube just to see what I would say about this place. Regardless, at least he's pretending to be nice, if that's what he was doing. By the way, I'm speaking like this. I'm not trying to put on a voice. It's just that I am sick, and so I have kind of lost my voice, and I do need to still make this video, so I'm gonna push through and continue making it. All right, we're going back the long way. So I've made it to the area with the hotels here. Now, a little bit further up down there towards the end, there is a Turkish army base. And so they've repurposed a couple of the hotels and placed themselves into there. It is just this eerie, strange thing to be walking in the middle of a street with these massive buildings around. So I was thinking my interaction with that guy who didn't hire me out the bicycle. I think that Famagusta in general is this place for some people. It's, I guess, a source of pride. It's a bit of like a fuck you to the Greek Cypriots, just like the big flag on top of the mountain that the southern side can see, you know? And I think there are definitely gonna be people like that where they feel like they have this power over you. They've opened up this place, right? They've opened it up for people to go to and have a look at and everything, but in reality, they could have done more. They could really knock this down and make it into a place of their own, but I think they keep this place like this as a source of pride to remind the Greek Cypriots that you can't have it, you know, you can't have it back. It can't be yours. We've taken it and we own it now. And so just the attitude of that guy really reminded me that there are people like that. And look, I'll keep saying it, but there are no innocent aggressors on either side. Both sides made mistakes. But you know what? If that's what that guy needs to feel powerful, you can have that, man. I don't feel hate towards you. I don't feel anger towards you. You're a guy who was probably born here. You want to take other people's achievements and use it as your own, right? I don't need to do that. I'll use my own, and that will give me my sense of purpose and power, right? It is interesting that people come here and laugh and everything. I wouldn't go to the Auschwitz Museum and, you know, giggle and laugh and make jokes. Anyway, people can do whatever the fuck they want. They're allowed to do whatever they want, and good on them if they want to do that. I don't even feel really upset that this has all happened, because at the end of the day... Yeah. There's an army base down there behind me, and I don't want to walk all the way to the beach. I've got footage of it. My family's going to be waiting for me so we can go and explore other places, because they look at it and they feel pretty sad about it all. And I do feel sadness towards it. But I also feel that without this happening, that of course we wouldn't have come to Australia. My family, my extended family, we were able to move to Australia and seek refuge there and, you know, really prosper. We've done a lot. They were able to open their own businesses and work freely there and make money and actually not live in poverty. And now, you know, it's a shame to not be able to live in such a beautiful country like Cyprus. But I'm proud and I'm happy to be Australian and be able to live there. We live there in peace, you know, without having to worry about the threat of danger and death from either side. It's almost like no one was safe back then, you know. If you're pro Magario, you might get killed or tortured or hurt from either side. But of course, I guess if I was from here and I encountered the war, like most of my family did, you know, I would probably feel a bit different, right? But I'm glad not to feel that way. I'm glad not to hold this hate and resentment in my heart towards people I don't know, to strangers, you know? But again, I'm happy to be Australian, regardless of the racism I had from the Aussies, the Europeans. It's just something that happens. And of course, I was racist back, you know? I was an asshole too, but, you know, you grow up at some point and you realize, like, people are people and the individuals are individuals. Now, the people who were there for the war, when it did happen, when the invasion did happen, and they saw the planes flying overhead and saw the boats in the water next to their village, you know, they're the craziest people in my family. Like, I can see the people who weren't there and the people who were there, and there is like a stark difference between them. Like, the people who weren't there are normal. The ones in my family who were there to witness it all and be part of the war are absolutely fucking crazy. And I know you guys are watching, and I know that you guys know who you are. You are crazy. But I love you. I'm not saying it as a bad thing. It's just shows that there is just this trauma, of course, associated with an invasion of your country, right? Okay, with that all out of the way, that's Famagusta, right? Before we go, here is the city centre in terms of the old town of Famagusta, a once prosperous town all the way back to when the French controlled it. They even built this beautiful cathedral, which, when the Ottomans took over in about 1570, was converted into a mosque. And so now if you want to go in, you have to take off your shoes, and if you're a woman, wear a headscarf. But, you know, really pretty awesome looking building, huh? Because this was a Catholic church, they would have had icons and angels and stuff, and you can see that they've broken them off, getting rid of what once was there, unfortunately. So now we've looked at a town that's been abandoned, but you can walk through in terms of legally, but you can't go into the buildings. Now we're going to go into a town you can't go into legally, and we will go into the buildings and see what it was like to be untouched for 51 years. I filmed this last year. I'm not going to film it again. I'm not going to put my life in danger, but I was caught twice going into there, so I don't feel like doing it this year. But I do find people's possessions. I go with someone who lived in the town before it was taken over and see a lot of these homes that are now destroyed, unfortunately. So let's get to that in chapter 3. Chapter 3 will not be in this video. I know I did this in the last video, I'm very sorry, but I need to put chapter 3 by itself. It is way too good, and you know what? It's edited. That's actually a lie again. I'm sorry, I can't stop lying to you guys. It is mostly edited. That is actually the truth. That's why I know that this video can't just be put in with other videos. It needs to stand by itself. It is a strong, independent video. It doesn't need anything behind it or in front of it or beside it. I don't know. But yes, I actually have been editing it, and it's very good. I'm just gonna say that. So, you know what that means? You know what? Actually, I'm not gonna say it. You know what YouTubers say, all that usual stuff that they say. I'm actually not gonna say it. I'm gonna instead talk about how much I like Subway. I really like subs. And if I had to comment on how much I liked subs, I would comment that I would share all of my subs with my friends and family because how much I like it. I would say stay tuned. That was bad. Okay, anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And I know you're gonna love the next one. And I know you're gonna love the first one. So go and watch that and then come back and watch this again and again in full. From 00:00 to however long this video is gonna be. That's how much you should watch it, and the previous one and the next one that you're gonna be subbed for because you can't wait for it. Awesome. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.